Welcome back to another episode of GL Rustic Design. Today's video is going to be a entertainment center slash food tray that you can store really anything in, or you can use as a display piece or whatnot. So the first step is you have to do the frame. I built the frame out of 2x4s. This is the top piece. You have the top and the bottom, which you have to do this times 2. You have to drill the 1.5-inch pocket holes, as you see there, so that holds the top down. You don't have to do that step for the bottom. I guess you could if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. So then I just use some 3-inch torx screws and level those off. And the next I'll move on to the sides. Here I just use some 1x10s, join those together with pocket screws. You can use sheets of plywood here. You can use, whatever you feel comfortable with. This is just what I have laying around. Once you get those joined together with some 1.5-inch pocket screws, then you can add those to the frame that you just built. And while I have a second, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. The channel's growing day by day. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more content. Once you get the 1.5-inch pocket hole screws in the boards, like I said, or you can use plywood here, whatever you have laying around. I have all the dimensions linked below, so it tells you, so you don't always measure your things. Don't trust me. I'm going to get you close if not on it. So, but once you get that done, you turn the frame on its side, and you put some more 3-inch screws. Just through the face of the side boards here. You put 2 on the bottom and then flip it around, bring the other frame over. When you do this step, make sure that you have the pocket holes pointed up so that you can screw the top down. So that's 2 more 3-inch screws here, and then you do the same step for the other side. And then once you get this step done, you can move on to the trim. So the trim has 1.5-inch pocket holes in it as well. I use a clamp those together. Like I said, this is the side trim. The face gets put together the exact same way as the front of the sliding door gets put together. Once you get this step done, you can attach the trim pieces to the outside. I use just some 1.5-inch torque head screws. And just lean up against the side. You can use a clamp, or I just use my hands. Use 1.5-inch screws here just to hold that little trim piece on. I put, I think 6, 3 on the front, 3 on the back. You could also, if you just wanted to, you could put pocket holes to hold the face on. But as you're seeing the next step, the next little quick video, I said all these steps are times 2. So I'm just doing one side, and then you can just replicate that for the other side. So the face is the same step as the trim pieces on the side. As you can see here, this is all put together, but I just used some 2.5-inch screws to hold that together. So I measured this out so it is so we could fit a wine cooler. So they're not technically even. I got the dimensions from the customer of their wine cooler, wine fridge, whatever it was, and fit that. So the way I'm just showing here how I distress my things. Instead of staining the whole thing like I used to do, I just kind of make a few marks, and then I paint. I'm using just some Sherwin-Williams Black Magic paint. Painting the whole thing is end up being 2 coats on the whole piece, or you can prime it and then paint it. But I just kind of gently miss where I stain the pieces, and then the second coat I'll go back and kind of fill those in just a little bit more. But so the shelves, they're made the same way that I made the side pieces from earlier in the video. just some 1.5-inch pocket hole screws, and then you stain all that, polyurethane all that, 2 coats of polyurethane. I used a Minwax Provincial stain, and then just their oil-based polyurethane. Like I said, 2 coats. As you can see here in Alabama, it's hot one day, then it's cold the next. But just use some brad nails to hold that down. In the same way for the top shelf, when you get to that point, or the mid shelf, I should say. Here I'm just kind of making a support bracket for that middle shelf, so that obviously you can put more weight on there or whatnot. Just a little support piece in the back. You can make this kind of however high you want it. I just found the middle, cut me a piece. I also put, you can see those pieces behind the face of it. I cut a few of those to kind of help rest that middle shelf on. And then once you get that done, you can move on to the top. The top, I have some really older red oak boards that I'm using for the top. I had to get everything square, so I had to run everything through the planer, get everything the same size. And then once you do that, I end up using 4 boards, so this is basically half of what I needed. So you just do this, replicate this again, and then combine those. So once you get all 4 boards, I use 2.5-inch pocket holes here. Once you get all 4 boards together, you want to make sure each edge is lined up right. And you'll see in the next video. Then when I put my breadboard ends on, I use pocket holes there too. It's somewhat frowned upon by some people. I've never had an issue out of them, so my old saying is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, and then the final step, make sure you put the top on first. I was just showing you an example in this of how I do the back. Make sure you drill some holes for some wires to come through. I just used some 1/4-inch pieces of Luan that I had laying around. That's what I used for the back. Paint the front side of it. I had to transport this, so I actually had to put the top on, move everything in, get the top on first, and then come back and put the back on. So here, this is the barn door on the front. You can choose to make it 4 open little cubbies in the front and then have 2 doors going across, or they just wanted one big door. So same way as how I did the sides, how I did the pocket holes on the side. Just 2 in each end, clamp it down, put those in, and then when you do the X's, this is the easiest way how I do X's. You just take a long piece, you slide it under it from corner to corner, you take your pin, and you just put a little mark exactly where you want to cut it. Go to the other side, go to the miter saw, cut it. You don't have to do no math. And then just pocket hole that together, and then when you come back and do the other side of the X, it's the exact same concept. You just draw 2 more lines. So here is the other side. Like I said, you end up drawing 4 lines. I put a little mark on where I think the top one should be, just so I don't get them confused, just in case they so happen to be not the right measurement. And then once you get that in, it's just more pocket holes. And then when you get the other side on, your X is complete. Flip it over, attach it to the back. The back, I done the exact same way of how I done the sides. I think I already mentioned that. So once you flip that over on top, then you just use some 1.5-inch screws and put that together. This was stained and painted the same as the rest of the thing, so I just distressed a few pieces. Then I came back and gently painted over the whole thing. And here I'm just putting the barn rails on. The rail part, the sliding door part. I usually leave about 1/8 of an inch gap between the rail and the actual door. So just hold it up there, measure it, and so on. So once you get that on, really you got to put the rail on first before you can get that accurate measurement. So you just use the tools that, or not the tools, but I order those on Amazon. So I used to make them, but it's just easier just for me to order them. But I put the rail on there, then I come back after that and put the door on, and then it's done.